Cyrus Frost. I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy and doing anything you can possibly do to try to maintain a semblance of normalcy in your life. On my end, my wife and I got a chance to get out of the house today and go to a local park in a nearby city because it was a really nice day out and it was good to see people who were out walking around in nature, keeping an appropriate distance apart from each other, but enjoying the beautiful weather that we had today. It was a good change of pace from being stuck in the house. So I hope that you're able to do similar things where you are and enjoy your lives where you can. But anyway, the reason for today's episode is not to discuss walks in the park. It's to discuss the state of the roadmap for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Now, if you're like me, I'm checking this thing out all the time, and I've gotten really frustrated, as I know many of you have, in recent months with how, I want to choose my words carefully here, how non-informative the roadmap is. I feel like it's not very reliable beyond the next quarter, right? And we've gotten all kinds of excuses and different strategies CIGs tried to employ. Now they're doing staggered development, and this is supposed to fix the problem of things getting cut from the next patch at the last minute and being bumped to the next patch. That hasn't really happened like they said it was going to happen. So what do we do about this? And even worse than the Star Citizen roadmap is the Squadron 42 roadmap. And they had Brian Chambers on a recent Calling All Devs. I think it was 2 weeks ago, right? And he discussed this exact situation with Disco Lando. And basically what they came up with was that they're aware that there's a problem, but they don't have a definite timeline or strategy to fix it. They're kind of still in eternal talks, whatever. So where that leaves us as backers is we're very frustrated and we're basically fed the mushroom diet here, and it's not in line with this little thing here. And I'm going to read this letter here that was written by Chris Roberts. I don't exactly remember when it was. It's pretty short, though, so I'll put it up on screen now. And it reads as follows. You've pledged your money to earn your citizenship. Now it's our turn. We, the Star Citizen team at Cloud Imperium, hereby promise, keep that word in mind for later, to deliver the game you expect. You, the tens of thousands of pledgers, have allowed us to cut out the big publisher and build the game of our terms, to let us focus on quality free of the pressure to deliver by a certain financial quarter, to nurture a new original IP, to put fun ahead of shareholder profits. We, the developer, intend to treat you with the same respect we would give a publisher. Just think about that for a minute. You will receive regular updates about the progress of the game. We will do a show and tell for each major milestone. Your voice will be heard and represented in our development docs and our feature wish list. You will see art and video and learn about how we intend to implement gameplay mechanics well before the rest of the world. The website will be updated and the community will be maintained. Though the limitations of technology may slow us, we will always do the best for you. If it breaks, we will fix it. There may be delays and there may be changes. We recognize that such things are inevitable, and we would be lying to you if we claimed otherwise. But when this happens, we will treat you with the respect you deserve rather than spending your money on public relations. How times have changed. When we need to change a mechanic or alter something you believe should be in the game, we will tell you exactly why. Your support over the past month has been incredible. You've done your part, and we will now do our utmost to live up to your expectations. We will build you the game you are dreaming about. Signed, Chris Roberts and the Cloud Imperium team. So that letter may have been written some time ago. I don't remember if it was written right after the Kickstarter or not. It's been around for a while. But the language in there was pretty cut and dry, and they even used words like promise and we will respect you the same as a publisher. And yet, the fact of the matter is that their actions don't stack up with that promise. They have failed to keep us consistently informed about a lot of things. And the whole problem stems, I guess I'll say, the mismanagement of the roadmap. If they just kept this thing up to date, they could alleviate all of this negativity in the community, almost all of which centers around the idea that people want to know what's going on with the development of this game. We were promised transparent development, and what we've been given is we're getting strung along one quarter at a time, and usually right near the deadline for when a patch goes live, they'll either make the cut or they won't, is my point. And more recently, they've been doing this roadmap roundup, which some people might think this is better, but in my opinion, this is worse, because about the same time they adopted the roadmap roundup, they started this new practice of temporarily removing cards from the roadmap, except as far as I'm aware, not a single card has been replaced on the roadmap. They take it off temporarily to figure out where it would be a better fit on the roadmap. And in practice, what this means is that features just get removed from the roadmap and no follow-up explanation is ever provided. So that's where we are in 2020. That reality is far different than what was promised in that letter to backers, thanking us for financially supporting the game. And I feel like the way back for Cloud Imperium here is really pretty straightforward. And it looks something like this. There is a record amount of subscription revenue coming in at this point in time. And I would argue that there is less of it being spent on the weekly content now that they take their quarterly 3-week hiatus from their Thursday show. And both their Thursday and Friday show, well, no, not the Friday show, I take that back. But the Thursday shows, for the last year or so, they've been like 8 or 10 minutes, sometimes as long as 15. But think about the old days around the verse when it was like a 30, 45-minute episode. And there's way less money being spent on production. 100%. You cannot convince me that all of the money coming in from subscription is paying for them to produce Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live. It just doesn't make any sense. I know that there is some amount of subscription revenue which is not spent on those two endeavors. And what you should do with that revenue is create a new salaried position at Cloud Imperium. And this person's job would be, they would be the roadmap czar. And they would be in on all of the high-level meetings between the senior producers. They would know way down the road everything that was going on to a level equal to Chris Roberts. All right, they would have his level of knowledge about what needed to happen, where that fell in terms of an order of priority with the other tasks that are on the roadmap, and they would be able to update that roadmap and provide meaningful community information on a weekly recurring basis. Now, some might argue that, you know, somebody in Cloud Imperium is already doing something like this, but there is a disconnect between the people who are maintaining the roadmap and the people who are producing the weekly content shows. And I don't know if Jared doesn't know the answers to these questions, or he's not allowed to say, but somewhere from on high at Cloud Imperium, it has been decided that the backers are just going to get this much information at a time. The roadmap is usually out 3 quarters in the future. We're waiting on 3.9, so 3.9, 4.0, 4.1, and after 3.9 comes out, presumably 4.2 will be added. But obviously, anything beyond the immediate patch is not super reliable, historically speaking. So what I'm looking for this salaried person to do whether it's a new person or just add responsibility to somebody else's plate, is to keep the current format of the roadmap, right? But also have a Gantt chart, and it shows all of the remaining tasks necessary to complete the game as of right now, all the way to the end. Okay, and it shows the dependencies of each of those tasks, and in a very clear and easy to understand way, so that you can say, okay, there's 117 more tasks necessary to publish Star Citizen, and then it's done. What I feel like we're getting now is a lot of these tasks are held back until a couple of weeks before the patch comes out. And then when they're forced to push something to the next patch, then they slip in this new thing that has never been mentioned before as a consolation prize to kind of divert you and distract you from the fact that now, the M50 improvements are going to be in 4.0 or whatever. Whatever. The security system is not going to make it in this patch. It's temporarily removed from the roadmap, and who knows when or if it'll ever come back. So the whole point I'm trying to make here is that the roadmap is functionally where the rubber meets the road in terms of Star Citizen's open development promise being fulfilled. It really needs to be accurate and dependable, and this is the one place where I would argue there's no room for people making excuses for Cloud Imperium or stepping up and defending them and saying that we need to be more understanding, and the only reason that they don't communicate more with us is because when they try to, we complain about it. I don't want to hear that bullshit, all right? They made a promise to us because we financially supported them. If you are going to be adult enough to take my money for a product, you need to be adult enough to stand up to the criticism I have or others have when we don't agree with something that you're doing. You said, after all, that you were going to listen to our voices in that same letter, Chris Roberts. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is hold CIG accountable to that promise. All right, so that's about all I wanted to talk about today. I don't feel like that's too much to ask at all, for the fact that this community collectively has given you $250 million to make this game. The least you can do is maintain a promise that you made that nobody made you make, and treat us with the same respect that you would treat a publisher. That's what I'm asking for. Until next time, I've been Osiris Frost. Thanks for watching.